You are about to find out that the retirement decision most Canadians are making right now could cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the worst part, nobody is talking about it the way they should be. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to see a side-by-side income breakdown between CPP and private pensions that is going to completely change how you think about your retirement. Welcome to Credit Smart Canada. Let's get into it. All right, picture this. Two coworkers. Same company, same salary, same years on the job, same everything. They retire the same month, the same year. One of them is pulling in a comfortable, predictable income every single month without touching a single dollar of their personal savings. The other one, stressed, watching their nest egg shrink every time the market dips, every time inflation creeps up, every time there's a headline about a recession. Same start line, completely different finish. And the difference between them was one decision about where their retirement money was going. That is exactly what we are unpacking today. CPP versus private pensions in 2026. Which one actually makes you richer? Which one gives you more security? And which one do most Canadians completely misunderstand? Let me start with CPP, because there are things happening with it right now that most people are sleeping on. The Canada Pension Plan has gone through some of the most significant changes in its history over the last several years. The CPP enhancement that started rolling out back in 2019 is now in full swing, and the numbers in 2026 are looking very different from what your parents were collecting. The maximum CPP payout at age 65 right now sits at just over $1,400 per month if you contributed at the enhanced level throughout your working years. Now that sounds decent, right? But here's where it gets complicated. Most Canadians are not collecting anywhere near the maximum. The average CPP payment is still sitting around $800 a month. Why? Because the calculation is based on your contributions over your working life, how many years you contributed, how much you earned, and whether those contribution years had any gaps. So if you took time off for kids, if you had low income years, if you were self-employed and not maximizing contributions, your CPP is going to be lower than you think. And here's the kicker that nobody talks about at the dinner table. If you take CPP early at 60, you are permanently locking in a reduced payment. We are talking up to 36% less than if you had waited until 65. And if you wait until 70, you get 42% more than the age 65 amount. That swing is massive. Over a 20-year retirement, that decision alone could be the difference between $200,000 and $400,000 in lifetime income. Same plan. Wildly different outcome based purely on timing. Now let's talk about private pensions, because this is where things start getting really interesting. Private pensions in Canada fall into two main buckets: defined benefit plans and defined contribution plans. And these two things are so different from each other that lumping them together as just a pension is honestly doing Canadians a disservice. A defined benefit pension is the gold standard. This is the one where your employer promises you a specific monthly payment for the rest of your life based on your years of service and your salary. Government workers, teachers, nurses, police officers, many union employees, these are the people sitting on defined benefit plans. And in 2026, with interest rates having shifted and pension funds recalibrating, these plans are actually in a stronger funding position than they were 5 years ago. A teacher in Ontario retiring this year after 30 years of service could realistically be walking away with $2,000 to $2,500 a month from their pension alone, before CPP, before OAS. That is a serious income floor, and the market cannot touch it. But here's the thing, if you are in the private sector, chances are you are not in a defined benefit plan. Most private companies phased those out decades ago. What you have is probably a defined contribution plan or a group RRSP, and that changes everything. Because in a defined contribution plan, your employer puts money in, you put money in, it gets invested, and then when you retire, whatever is in that account is what you have. No guarantees, no formula, no promise, just a balance and a prayer that the market cooperates on the day you need to start drawing it down. And here is where the income gap between CPP and private pensions becomes shocking, because it depends entirely on which type of pension we are comparing. Let me give you a real comparison. Take someone who worked 30 years in the public sector on a defined benefit plan, averaging around $70,000 a year. Their pension formula, typically 2% per year of service multiplied by average salary, would give them approximately $42,000 a year. That is $3,500 a month. Stack CPP on top of that, even at the average rate, and you are looking at an income that rivals what many Canadians earn while they are still working. Fully indexed, guaranteed for life. Now take someone who spent those same 30 years in the private sector, contributing to a defined contribution plan with matching contributions. Depending on the market, depending on the investment choices, depending on contribution rates, that account might have $400,000 to $700,000 in it at retirement. That sounds like a lot, but if you need that to last 25 to 30 years, you are looking at somewhere between $1,500 to $2,500 a month, and you are carrying all the market risk yourself. One bad sequence of returns in the first 5 years of retirement can permanently damage that income stream in a way that a defined benefit pension never could. That gap between the guaranteed income and the market-dependent income is where retirements are won or lost. And most Canadians do not realize which side of that gap they are on until it is almost too late to do anything about it. So what does this mean for you if you are watching this right now and trying to figure out your own situation? First, find out exactly what kind of pension plan you are in if you have one at all. Do not assume. Ask HR. Read the documents. Know whether your income in retirement is guaranteed or whether it is sitting in the market waiting to surprise you. Second, stop underestimating CPP. The delay strategy is one of the most powerful and underused retirement tools in Canada. If you can afford to wait, waiting from 65 to 70 could add over $80,000 to your lifetime CPP income. That is not a small number. Third, if you do not have a defined benefit pension, you need to be building your own guaranteed income floor through other means. That could be maxing your RRSP, building a TFSA strategy, looking at annuities, or working with a financial planner who actually understands Canadian retirement income, not just investments. Because here is the truth that Credit Smart Canada is built on. The difference between a stressful retirement and a comfortable one is almost never about how much money you made during your working years. It is almost always about how well you understood the system and whether you made the right decisions at the right time. The two co-workers I mentioned at the start of this video, the one who is comfortable did not earn more. He just knew which questions to ask. And now you do too. If this gave you clarity, if it made you think about your own retirement differently, smash that like button and subscribe to Credit Smart Canada because we do this every week. Real Canadian money topics, no fluff, no jargon, just the information you actually need to make smarter decisions with your money. Drop your questions in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll see you in the next video.